Now remember, I learned how to sell real estate what? In the streets. Listen, I was running a business ever since I was 13, 14, 15. Only when you messed up, they kill you, okay? So I know how to do business without making a mistake, right?
Where I ask my guests, how did you do it and why?
All right, we're ready to rock. Now, listen, you came walking in here. You look like $1 million. You look like $1 million.
Thank
the
you.
Shades, the whole outfit, the gig, and me. I'm looking pretty. I think I'm looking pretty. Like hip.
Yeah.
Maybe not quite hip, but just a little bit mundane.
You're cool, brother. You're
I'm
good.
cool.
You're Mark.
Marky
Mark.
Marky Mark. No,
love it.
I like that. I like that. So listen, I got to introduce your book.
Okay.
Because it's the start, and I read it. I loved it, and
Thank you.
it's on Amazon. It's a hardback, and I just snagged it up before we got together. Let's say this book. It's called Greg Perry. That's who did it. The Living Miracle. If it's meant to be, it's up to me.
Absolutely.
And I loved it. I read it start to finish. There's his website, www.gregperry.com. Again, Living Miracle. Great. Check it out. I did. So,
Listen, thank you so much. And first of all, it's an honor to be on the show, Mark, and I appreciate that. And before we even get started, that's what I always do. I say all the powers in prayer. I'm just going to say a prayer. Dear Lord, I just ask you, bless this
Please
beautiful podcast, me and Mark, and there you are in the midst of us, and that we glorify and praise you. And just, what I just ask that I open my heart and that it touch all the ears of the listeners, that it may change their life. And it's funny, Mark brought up my book, and that book, even though it says Greg Perry, Living Miracle, that book is not about me. It's about God. It's God on the cover camouflages me. It's an incredible story where God has blessed me despite myself. I tell people in a nutshell, and I've been blessed where I've been a worldwide success trainer for billionaires, and I consulted. I've talked to the fellas in the penitentiary. I tell everybody. Everyone in between is easy. I got a PhD in life. I got a master's degree in the School of Hard Knocks. I graduated from Nunn University. What you want to know? I lived it. And, God had put this on my heart to write my life story. But really, it's not about me. It's about God, okay, and how he has blessed me despite myself, mind, body, spirit, and soul, all the way across the board, family, kids, business, and I tell people in a nutshell, I had a first-class ticket to hell in row one, and God let me off the plane. I couldn't deny him if I've tried. I've lived every kind of life that you could possibly imagine, and I'm 63 years, young, a total of 7 months, and today here is the 2nd of February, so that would actually make me 4 days. And then been blessed by my wildest imagination with sobriety. I've got 35 years sobriety.
Here.
35 years, 3 months, and let's see, I think today's the 2nd, so that gives me 25 days, and that's a miracle by itself. To make a long story short, listen, I'm born and raised in South Central LA.
Yeah, I want to get into that because in your book, I think I never was raised that way.
Okay.
I'm a suburban kid.
Right.
Who, me, it was just clear genetics.
Right.
Just get hammered. Irish Catholic kid. None of the challenges socioeconomically that you had. But I think the audience would just love to hear it, or just it's just a great inspiration.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll tell you a little bit about GP when it all started. So first of all, I'm born and raised from South Central LA. That's basically like Beirut. If you want to know, that's we make Beirut look pretty nice. Okay. And the bottom line, I'm the baby of 6, and I had a great childhood growing up, and I got to do everything I want. But when I really think about it, there was a family of, we had a total of 6, plus my mom and dad. That's 8. And so living in a 4-plex, 2-bedroom, 1 bath. So on a dollar and cents, I guess we were really poor. But they forgot to tell me. Someone forgot to tell me that I was poor.
And you just didn't pick up on it.
Oh, listen, man. I had the greatest childhood. But when I was first a kid, only thing I wanted to do was I was a pyro. I loved to play with fire. I was an absolute pyro. And I caught our curtains on fire. I would set the couch on fire. And I just loved playing. I would take matches and and hairspray and make torches. And I was just a pyro. And I'll never forget when I was about 5 years old. We're playing around the corner of my best friend's house, and we're up in his attic, and we're leaving. I had matches like I do, and I lit a box of matches at the top of his attic, and we went down and played for hours at my house. And a couple hours later, I don't know what time it is, we hear sirens coming, and we have no idea. We run around to see what's going on, and we start running back to his house, and I notice the house is on fire, and there's a fire engine and guys with axes hitting it, and it still hasn't dawned on me that I set that house on fire. Listen, I have no clue, right? We go back, and his.
You're just a little kid.
I'm 5 years old. Listen, I am 5, but I'm bad, man. Listen. I grew up so fast in my family. I get a little bit back of my family background, but so this right here, I'm 5. We run over there. His parents grab us, and oh my gosh, we're looking for you, and oh, you guys, we're glad you're okay, and oh my gosh, we don't know what happened. Our house caught on fire, and my best friend said, oh, I know what happened. Greg lit the matches in the attic upstairs, right? And it dawned on me, oh my gosh, I did do that. So I turned around, started running and crying, ran as fast as my legs could take me. I ran into my dad. My dad always told me, my dad was just a new struggling attorney, if I always told the truth, I'll never get in trouble. So I ran into him, Dad, I burnt my friend's house down, and all I know is 2 detectives came to our door. He stepped out. That's the last I ever heard of it, right? But let me give you a little background. So I'm the baby of 6. Now, my oldest sister, Gail and Brenda, they grew up in Woodstock. Okay, so they grew up in the Woodstock age, and then I've got my sister Adrian, and then it goes Michael, and then my sister Angela. And so when I grew up, I remember I was 4 years old. They would get me drunk, spin me around, and I would hit my head against the wall. And I had
That's
a big
nice.
listen. I had a big old hickey, and they used to call me Hickey Head Herbert, right? But I remember I watched. Gail and Brenda, they were all taking Reds and Bennies at that time. I'd open up the closet and I would see all that stuff, you know what I mean? And I remember my sister Brenda always said, she told my mom, that's why words have power. She never thought she was going to live to be 21, and Brenda had OD'd at 20, okay? And then I watched all Gail's friends all overdose. They were in Woodstocks, they would take those pills, and I remember specifically Brenda and Gail, they would always get in like dog and cat fights, and this is part of growing up. And but I remember when Brenda died that night, her girlfriend Kathy got in a fight.
Wait,
later on.
let me get this straight. Brenda's your sister.
My sister, who did?
Oh my God!
Listen, that's my sister Brenda, who died at
I
20.
misplaced of all
It's okay. She died at 20, and so her and her Kathy, roommates, high on pills, start fighting. Lay Brenda's out. They rush her to the hospital, and they didn't have the right equipment, I guess, at the time to pump her stomach or whatever. Brenda ends up dying, but I'll never forget at Brenda's funeral because Kathy, I was always Kathy's little boyfriend, right? Even though I was only 4 years old. Actually, at that time, I'm 8 years old when this happens, but. Kathy sat next to me, and she was so just hurt so bad. She really thought it was her fault. And then I remember when she left there, she went and killed herself. Okay, and so this was a normal day. Here's a normal day.
So wait, in a matter of 2 days, a week,
right?
You've lost two sisters.
Right. Well, I lost Brenda, my sister. Kathy was her girlfriend, just like family.
Okay, sorry.
It's okay. And so Kathy killed herself because her and Brenda got in a fight. But right before that, let me fast forward. That I'm 8 years old. I come home from USC Sports Club. Listen, somehow I was running the streets, listen, ever since I was 4 and 5 years old. I'll never forget, I only got one whooping from my dad one time. I ran across I took the girl across the street, and we ran away from home. Okay, we were going on a day trip. I was just having fun.
Yeah,
okay,
look, just take a
day
break.
trip. And later on, my father found us, and I remember when he brought us home, there was so many people at our house looking. I guess half of South Central was looking for us, and he whooped my butt. That's the only time I ever got a whooping, ever, in my whole life.
Well, but maybe deserving.
Yeah, I'm sure I deserved it. And so that was that. And so now I grow up hanging out. I hang out at USC sports club. So the University of USC is really close to our house. You can walk to the Coliseum.
Yeah.
I'd go up there and hang out, and I always wanted to be a football player. I'd go to the games, and I go to all the Rams games back there when I'm 8 years old.
Yeah.
I'd go to the games, and I'd be like, I was always slick. I was a poor black kid. They gave me all the tickets, right? And I would go to the games, but I always wanted to be a football player. So after the game, I would come around to the locker room, and there's security where you have to go through to get into the locker room, and I would fake like I'm one of the black players players' wives' kids, and I'd walk in
right
through
on.
security. Right, it worked. After a while, listen, I'll never forget. Quarterback is Roman Gabriel.
Oh, remember Roman Gabriel.
Listen, I used to get Jack Snow wristbands. Listen, it was Al Clark. It was the boys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Isaiah Robinson. I could just
Yep,
go.
yep.
I can go. Jim Young.
Roman Gabriel did a little stint with the Eagles.
There we go.
Yeah,
That's right.
so he was our guy for a while.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
So we did. So that was part of my game, and this is when everything really started changing my life. Okay, let me show you how it really works in South Central. I'll never forget. I asked my dad. I always wanted a green metal flake bike. That's what I wanted for. I remember for Christmas he bought me a green bike. Man, I was so happy. I went down the street on Christmas Day. Went upstairs to get my best friend. When I came out, they were stealing my bike. I chased them as far as I could, crying, and my bike was gone that day. Welcome to the life of South Central, baby. Welcome to Merry Christmas, buddy. So that's kind of how it is. But this is when my whole life changed. Okay. I come home from USC Sports Club, and one of my best friends driving by with their parents, he hollers out the window, hey, Greg, your dad's dead. I didn't think nothing. We played this game growing up that doesn't. Your mama's this, your daddy's that.
Yeah.
But when I get home, something's different. All my relatives are over my house. You know what I mean? My mom's laying down. I say, Mom, I say, how you doing? Everything okay? She said, everything's okay. And then I walk in the bedroom. My brother Michael said, hey, Gregory, daddy's dead. And so I didn't know what to think. I didn't know what to feel. I didn't know up from down, right? So at that point, and then 4 months later, my sister Brenda ODs and dies. Okay, so
so the Brenda death is after Dad's
4
death.
months after.
Damn.
My dad had a heart attack in his office chair, didn't come home from 2 days. My sister Brenda, my sister Adrian, they went in there and had to break the window of his office. He was sitting in his office chair, dead as a doorknob at 48, had a heart attack. And so that's when it started. And then at that time, my mom had us all taken to the psychiatrist because our family was a mess. And I'll never forget, the psychiatrist asked my brother Michael, did you love your dad? Michael about beat that guy up. That's the last time we ever went to a psychiatrist. That wasn't going to work. It was.
He beat the psychiatrist.
No, they stopped him. He was about to. You did so. And my
It's
brother.
not funny, but it
I
is
know.
funny.
But my brother Michael, believe me, was a Vietnam vet and came home from the Marines. Okay, so that's to give you an ideal kind of Michael's personality. But so that's when it changed. My mom figured she's going to bus me out to the San Fernando Valley voluntary busing program. Listen, in 1968. Listen,
Is this mostly white kids then?
Listen,
You're rolling out.
Listen, it's all white kids. It was the best elementary school, all white, rich area. I'm out of South Central. She figured so I don't get killed in the streets. So I have no idea. And later on in life, I realized, listen, guess what's going down? They just assassinated Martin Luther King. Listen, it's 1968. I go out there.
Not exactly a peaceful time.
Yeah, and me and this white Jewish boy become best friends.
I read about this. I read about this. Yeah.
So Steve, and so they asked, could I spend the night? Sure. And before you know it, we become best friends. I'm spending the night over their house for the weekends, and summer school's out, and they asked, hey, would you like to go to summer school with Steve? I would love to go to summer school. So I asked my mom, can I stay at their house? And she'll let me do what I want. And they really were just loving me just like I was their son. And so basically from 8 years old to 14 years old, I grew up at the Berkson's house, but check it out. I grew up the Prince of Bel-Air. Listen, Dave is a rich Jewish doctor. Check it out. Margie is my second mom. Pam is the sister. Steve is my brother. Scott's the younger. I didn't know anything about dollar and cents. I thought everyone had maids named Maria, swimming pools, English horse, and tennis courts. Okay.
Yeah. So now, wait, did you eat kosher?
Listen, I ate kosher. I ate matzah. We did Passover. I've been to bar mitzvahs, the whole shebang, man. And listen, but here's the deal. All they did was just love me. That's all they did. They never said that. Dave never said he was my dad. Margie never said she was my mom. They just loved me just like they love their own sons and daughters. That's why there is no defense against love. Love heals and blesses everything. It was the best time of my life. They signed us up in Little League Baseball. I was the only black guy in the whole league. And let me tell you, I was a superstar. Okay.
Jackie Robinson.
They had a nickname. They called me, I was a leadoff hitter, most stolen bases, and I could go on and on, but that was some of the best time of my life. And then only on the weekends, sometime, I would go back home to South Central. Okay, and I had this double life because they started the Crips in 1972. I'm 12 years old.
And they want you in. They're trying to pull you
Oh
in.
yeah, Big Took started the Crips, and so. But I always loved all that action because one thing I always did when I went home, I would hang out at the Hollywood skating ring. Okay, that's on the Sunset Strip, Western. That's the spot. I grew up at the Hollywood skating ring. That's where we skate. That's where everyone goes, and big time growing up. And so I had this double life. So I would go back home to South Central, and no one knew I had this Prince of Bel-Air life in the Valley, okay? And no one in the Valley knew I had this South Central life.
Keep
And listen,
everything separate.
and I could listen, and I was the master at both of them. And I'll never forget at the Hollywood skating ring, we'd have riots. I used to love all that stuff. I'd be right in the middle of it. I was no bigger than a Smurf, but I was the instigator. You know what I mean? Because when they started the Crips, Big Took in '72. I'm 12. Okay, they're much older than me. They're like 18 and 23.
But
and
you know you're in something exciting. You know it.
Listen, I love it. Okay, and like I said, no bigger than a Smurf, and I was the instigator. Slap somebody, these big guys beat you up, and it was crazy. But I had this Prince of Bel-Air life, and I switched over to the Brady Bunch life. I switched over to the South Central life, and I wore both masks very, very good. And it was absolutely fun and growing up and having a good time. And I'll never forget when I was 13, it caught up with me. Oh, it caught up with me. So I'm having dinner at the Bergson's family.
Yeah, you can't keep the this
Listen,
wave is
I'm
going to
having
get
dinner
you.
Friday. I go home that weekend, and all the gangs in LA would hang out at the movie theaters on Sunday. Oh, Sundays were all the gangs would hang out. There's about 50 of us. We go down to downtown Los Angeles. I think it's the State and the Los Angeles Theater. It's about 3, 4 in the afternoon, and Black Belt Jones is playing Bruce Lee, Chinese Connection. It's a big long line, and I'm like, hey, let's go down to the other theater. You know, there's about 50 guys. I'm instigating. Like I said, I'm no bigger than a Smurf. I start heading down first, leading the pack, and across the street, the rivalry game came running across the street, pulled out guns in front of us, broad daylight downtown, and a shootout. Okay, and so we do a about face, and guess what? I go from being in front to being in back. So I got the first 38, had my name on it.
Whoa, wait a minute. So, okay, so people are shooting at your ass.
Right.
You must be shitting your pants.
No, people shot me. I got shot. No, it's one thing to be shooting. I caught the bullet. Okay, look, I caught the bullet. Okay, so I caught the bullet. So it's one thing to be shooting. It's one thing to get shot. No, I got shot. I got shot that day. So I caught the first bullet, the 38. I fell down. I didn't know I was shot. It felt like, a hot Charlie horse. That's all. It hit me in my hip.
Yeah.
I fell. Police are scrambling. It's crazy. They get it under control. I remember the ambulance comes and takes me to Kaiser, go into surgery, take it out. And but I remember I wasn't going. Also, I was thinking about how can I get back to school. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna miss school tomorrow. How can I
up with your Prince of Bel-Air crowd?
You got it. How am I gonna get back up there? So I'm like, oh my gosh, my life's gonna catch up with me. So I picked up the phone and I called Dave. I didn't want to, but I know Dave loved me, and I called him on a Sunday and I said, Dave, and he said, Greg, how you doing? And I said, okay. He said, Greg, where you at? You all right? And I said, I'm all right. Where you at? He asked me again.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to lie to him. I said, I'm in the hospital. He said, in the hospital? What? What happened? I said, I got shot. What? You got shot? Where you at, Kaiser? It seemed like 10 minutes later, he's looking at me, Mark. I'll never forget his look. His little Prince of Bel-Air that was having dinner at his house Friday night is laying in a hospital bed with a 38 just taken out of him. I know he didn't know what to think.
Neither would I.
Listen, he didn't know what to think. So now, but check this out. Now, the LA Times puts me in as innocent bystander gets shot in shooting, right?
All right, I'll take that.
Oh, listen. So when I went back to my Prince of Bel-Air school, I was a hero. You know what I mean? Oh my gosh! All the women loved me. All the girls loved me. Oh, I was a celebrity.
Go back and get shot again.
Listen, actually, I played it to the max, baby. I was the most popular guy ever walking that campus as a kid, right? At 13. But then check it out. When I go back home to the hood, listen, my gangster life elevated. Listen, I'm Superman. Listen, I took the bullet for the fellas, right?
So you're
listen,
in.
Listen, my street value went to the sky. I was like, the little gang pen. Listen, I was like the leader, even though I was just, they always say my gangster name was Bono. Oh man, Bono caught a bullet for us, man. You mess with him, we'll kill you. You know what I mean? So they like, oh, Bono's the man, man. Bono took a bullet for us, right?
Ooh.
And listen, I'm 13. These guys are 15, 18, 20, 24, right? And so I said,
15, 18, 13. Oh, my Lord.
these guys are in their 20s, right? Big Took and those guys. And so we're roaming the streets, having fun. And so now I'm hanging out with the cool kids in the Valley, right? I'll never forget the first time I got high. I was at the LA Sports Arena at the James Brown concert, the Big Payback, the Godfather's Soul. And man, we started smoking some weed, and man, the vibes were jamming through me. I'm like, oh, this is cool, baby. I was 12 and a half. I'll never forget that. And that changed the course of my life.
Yeah, that you touched home when you got cranking on weed. You found the answer.
Oh, I found it, man. It was so cool, man. And then I was out at the Valley, and so when I go to school, now I'm hanging out, even though I live with Steve, and Steve is my brother, and I love him. Steve doesn't do that, but I'm hanging out with the cool white boys in the Valley.
Oh, yeah, okay.
You know, with the cool guys smoking weed right now.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so even though Steve didn't do it, didn't matter. That was my thing. And then my grades start to go down, right? And so my mom says to me, well, guess what, Greg? You don't get your grades up, I'm going to pull a bathwater on this whole friggin' party you got right now. So my mom is so smart. My mom always told me, God loves you, Greg. God forgives you. Remember, when you don't forgive yourself, you block your good from God. She was always my spiritual advisor.
What was that? Say that again.
My mom always said that. She said this, Greg. God always loves you, and she always told me all things are possible through God. But remember, when you don't forgive yourself, you block your good from God, because God has already forgiven you. And every time in life, and I would get down, I would hear my mom's voice say, forgive yourself, and count your blessings. I would say my eyes see my heartbeat. I forgive myself, and boom, it's like God restores me, okay? But when you don't forgive yourself, it's almost you block your good. You feel you're not worthy of receiving it. So that was
a very good point. Very good. I like that. I like
my
that
mom was a spiritual guru, and what she would always do, she would never say anything, but she'd always have some spiritual music cranked up really loud. And when I fast forward and I look at my life, it was my mom's prayer protection. What she did when I'm 13, 14, 15, 16, we are in gangs, organized crime, life on the line every day. She taped in the powder room mirror where I brush my teeth, this prayer protection, right? Listen, I couldn't even look at my face. Every day I have to say it. Every night it's stuck in the mirror on tape. I say that stupid prayer protection. The light of God surrounds me. The love of God enfolds me. The power of God protects me. The presence of God watches over me. The mind of God guides me. The life of God flows through me. The law of God directs me. The peace of God abides with me. The joy of God uplifts me. The strength of God renews me. The beauty of God inspires me. Wherever I am, God is. Listen, I kept coming home and everybody kept dying. Listen, I had extra angels watching. My mom was, that was a prayer of protection. Let me break it down. Listen what she brainwashed me, what I say every day, because listen, it says the prayer of protection. The light of God surrounds me. The love of God enfolds me. The power of God protects me. The presence of God watches over me. The mind of God guides me. The life of God flows through me. The law of God directs me. The peace of God abides with me. The joy of God uplifts me. The strength of God renews me. Wherever I am, God is. And I'm telling you, I know now I'm sitting here today because God blessed me despite myself with all those angels around me. See, I'm on a mission from God, but that's another story.
Let me jump in there. I've always been a skeptic when it comes to God, and I raised Irish Catholic, have great respect for the religion, great respect for people, but it hasn't caught me here. Right. But I do know there's a God.
Right.
When it really came home to me that like a faith in my mom was devoutly Irish Catholic.
Right.
She died of cancer over about a year. It wasn't fun to watch.
Okay.
She would bring her friends in there, and they would go through a series of ritualistic prayer and Bible study, Roman Catholic.
Right.
She died with grace. And I remember thinking to myself, will I have that faith when I'm on that bed? And I thought, that's God. In her instance, it's Jesus Christ, and I don't challenge that.
Right. But you've seen it firsthand through your mom.
Yeah.
That's what changed your heart.
It did, but now, well, that's all. I think just what you're saying, I like a boom, I saw it. And I saw it each time a daughter was born. Maybe you did. Every time a daughter was born, I thought, that's God. That's God. Hey, I don't care what
I was
says.
there for all 7 of my kids. And my mom always told me children are a blessing from God. She taught me that. And of course, I got 7 of them. Oh, wow. I needed all 7.
So in light of your excesses in life, much like me. I did 5. You went for 7.
I went for 7.
There we go. A nice controlled guy. So let's swing back to East LA, because I know that I really want to hear more, as much about your success as the challenge of growing up.
Yeah.
But what would you call the worst? How down did you go in that life, would you say?
Well, from that life, here it is in a nutshell. Listen, I had a first class ticket to hell in row 1, and God left me off the plane. If I had to live my life 10 times, I would be dead 12 times. It's by God's grace, mercy. Listen, that He has already predestined that I sit here today, that my eyes see, that my heart beat, that my feet work. When I wake up every day, my life is in overtime. Listen, listen. That's just part. Listen, I'm about to fast forward. So look, I told you I'm like 13, 14 right now, hanging out with the cool guys, and grades go down. Mom pulls the plug, says you're coming home, right? So she remarries, right? And we move from South Central to Gardena. She didn't know we moved from the old hood to the new hood. We moved in the OG shotgun cribs. You hear, listen, Crenshaw, El Segundo, Rosecrans, look, Van Nuys. That is the OG shotgun crib. We moved right in there, right?
And you were pretty well schooled in that crowd. So
I was schooled, but we moved. So in the areas in Los Angeles, every neighborhood like you would be here, Bothell or Kirkland, is called a set. Okay, so you got gangs in these sets, so you can't go in other neighborhoods. So, but I moved into the original. And the first day, I'm at the record shop with my good friend Keith. He lives in another neighborhood. We go to Henry Clay. It's called the Harvard Gangsters. And I'll never forget, back then we were wearing Crip clothes. I had waistline leather coats, Levi's one cuff. We had all the uniforms
fitting in
at the record shop. And these 3 guys come up. They're coming up to jack me. I'm a new kid coming out the record shop. And first thing they say, hey, homeboy, that's a nice coat you got on, man. They said, let me try it on. I said, oh, man, it's my brother's coat. I can't do that. They said, no, we'll give it back to you, man. Let me just try it on, man. And I said, no, I can't do that. It's my brother's coat. And he said, hey, homeboy, I don't think you heard me. I said, hey, man, I heard you, man. I said, it's my brother's coat. And then he got up in my face, and then he said, hey, homeboy, ain't you the brother that just moved on Cashmere in our hood? I said, yeah, that's me. He said, you one of us. I said, that's right, I'm one of you. Real simple. I wasn't gonna be a victim, baby. I got real good at being real bad. Okay.
Bark back.
No,
Bark
you
back.
don't understand. You don't understand this lifestyle. It's real simple. I lived in the OG shotgun here. If you weren't down, here's what they do: they shoot you in the head. That's it. There was no just say no. And guess what? I adapted to the program, and I adapted so good. I got real good at being real bad. But listen, that's nothing compared to, I told you, I'd hang out at Hollywood Skating Ring, growing up for all those years, and then now I'm 14, 15. I hang out there. I turn this girl out, Dee Dee. She'll die for me. She loves me.
I read about her. Dee Dee stuck around.
Listen, Dee Dee will do anything for me. Dee Dee is in love with me. Listen, she brings me home to meet her father. I'm going to be her husband. Guess what? Her father's the Black Marlon Brando in Inglewood. He's the head runner of organized crime.
Oh.
That's her daddy, Fred.
I'll hook up with him.
And I remember he looked at me because his daughter was just crazy about me, like he wanted to kill me. I didn't know who he was, and he probably could have killed me, but he figured that if he did that, his daughter would commit suicide. She would die for me. So guess what? I became his future son-in-law. He's grooming me. Now,
grooming you for the life.
No, they are the big boys, and I'll never forget. And so his best friend, which he called Joe, he was an eraser. What that is that Joe puts on a mailman suit and he goes to deliver you a package. Okay, your number's up. That's it. You're done.
You don't want Joe coming with a package.
No, he's not the mailman. And guess what? He does that all day, like you go to work, and then they come back and barbecue and play dominoes. Okay, and there's everyone has a different job.
It's just the game.
That's just the game that they're in, man. But I learned a lot about life about Fred in the streets. He always said one thing: either you'll handle your business or your business handle you. So listen, fear was my greatest enemy because it kept me alive. Okay, but there was no slipping up. When you slip up, it's just your life. That's just that.
Boom, done.
Listen, first of all, you live this insane life, okay? And at that time, it's a cocaine epidemic, all this stuff, and guess what happened? I'm the store. I'm the store, and was always hooked on the money and the power because when I left the Prince of Bel Air life and I got back with my mom and people had cars and lowriders, I said, man, how you guys get cars? They're like, man, you got a will and deal. So I remember I stole my brother Michael's money and set it up like his best friend stole it. I was in the game.
I remember that. Was it Smokey?
No, Smokey was down here.
There was another guy.
It's another guy. It was Daryl.
Okay.
And I set it up like Daryl, right? And so I'm in the game, right? And so now we rocking and rolling, and we got low riders and all that stuff. But Fred, now I'm in organized crime with Fred. Fred's grooming me, and I'll never forget that. Here's how crazy this life was. You can go home and take a shower, and you can't get clean because your soul's dirty. Okay, check this out. It is a cocaine epidemic in America. I'm the store. Okay, listen.
And you're taking it, I presume.
Oh, listen. No, hey, listen. I can't have a drug problem because I'm my number one client. Okay, and I don't even know I have. Listen, and I don't run out, so I got no problem with it at all. I don't listen. I'm the number one client, and listen. And I'm so good. I can't be a drug addict because guess what? It's all mine, baby. And I'm the store. So listen. The only problem I got, you need to stay out of my business. Okay. And then Fred always taught us to wear a mask. I'll never forget when me and Keith were getting out of high school. We got perms like Superfly, long perms.
Oh yeah, I saw a picture of it.
Listen, we got low riders, man. We got all the girls, playing the game. And I'll never forget in 1978, we got out of high school and we were going to get brand new Sevilles. I'll never forget. They were like baby Rolls Royces, right? And I'll never forget, we about to go get some new ones, me and Keith. Fred grabbed me and Keith and said, sit down, shut up, you little punks. We said, yes, sir. What's up? He said, you're not going to go out and buy some brand new Sevilles. He said, you're going to be in jail in 5 minutes. Your neighbor is going to call the police and they're not going to let some 18-year-old punk drive a brand new Seville that they can't even afford. So here's what you tell. Cut your hair off, sell your low riders, get rid of this look. I want you to go shopping and buy clothes like you guys are scholars at Oxford. Get your sports card. Man, we cut our hair off, so our low riders cut our hair off. We went and got 280Zs and sports cars, and we looked like we were the nicest guys in the world. We were dirty as a dog. He said, always wear a mask, never let them know who you really are. And we always had jobs.
You mean when you're up to no good, you mask as in literally something over your face?
No.
Just your look, who you are.
Just to look, playing the game. And so listen, we had jobs. Listen, as fronts, we looked like the nicest guys in the world. We were GQ, clean cut, sports car. We went shopping like we go to Oxford, man. We just clean cut, only we dirty as a dog, okay? But that's Fred always taught us, wear a mask. Never let them know who you are. Never tell the truth, okay? And so, and he also taught us stuff in the game that he said you can't ever pull a gun out. If you pull a gun out, you got to kill everybody or they're going to come back and kill you. So there's certain rules to the game, okay? And he always said you can't trust nobody, okay? And it's always number two that's going to set up number one. The guy, so all these street rules, and when you break them, you're just dead. That's it. So that's what I tell you.
Game over.
Listen, in this life that I was living, listen, everybody dies. Okay, everybody dies. Consolation, give him consolation. Johnny, you got life in prison. Give him that's it. That's as good as it got. That's why I said I had a first class ticket to hell, and God let me off the plane. That's why I can't deny him. So we're living life in the fast lane. We're rolling like it's no tomorrow. I'll never forget. And this was a turning point in my whole life. And me and Keith are going to be millionaires. We're like 19, 20. We know the game. I bought my first property up here in Washington, flew out. My sister graduated from USC, married Patrick, which just passed away, her ex-husband.
So, pardon me, you are now making some cash.
Oh, yeah.
Because, you go to LA.
I've been a self-made millionaire and all that stuff.
I know that, but at this point.
Oh, yeah, we rolling.
You're rolling.
Oh, we rolling.
You're not like, you got a shitload of money illegally.
Hey, check this out. We are the ballers before they created the word baller. We were the ballers in the street. Listen, we had the cars, the clothes, the women, the diamond, and guess what? You was on my black book. I was the store. And I don't want to say this on a podcast, but I can tell you that some of the biggest capital letters in sports
bringing it
are my clients. And
bringing it home.
Listen, I will tell you that the richest in the land that their job is to protect and serve, they're my clients. Okay. And I can tell you, and I can tell you some of the most decorated All-American Olympians in the United States, they part of the club. Listen.
Hello.
Hollywood,
Greg.
you name it, part of this, and here's what it is. Listen, you hate it, but you can't get enough of it.
Now I want to ask another question relative to, you had a good stint with drug addiction rehabs.
Right.
Boom, 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 boom.
Right.
Well, let's catch up on that.
Okay.
Because it seems like that was a pretty grueling part of your story.
And listen, and that's what happened. And so basically, I fast forward this crazy life that we live in, and this was a turning point in my whole life. So I'm 20 years old right now, living life in the fast lane. And listen, it's to a point where, listen, I can't stand it, but I love it. Listen, I want no parts of it, but I can't give enough of it. Oh, and I'm hooked on the power and the money and the control that we get because I realized I would put my hand on a stack of Bibles and I would swear the whole world's corrupt. Because in the daytime, I don't care if they were a judge, a commissioner, or police, or doctor, whatever. At night, they was in the black book, okay? And so I just seen that, in LA, there was no such thing as, guilty or innocent. If you had money, you go home. You got no money, you go to jail. That's just the game. Okay, that was just and like I said, I got real good at being real bad, and this is the turning point. I go over Fred's house in Inglewood. Been there 1,000 times. This is the main house. Ring the doorbell. Bars on the door. Who is it? My name is Bono. Open the door. Come on in. And God says, "This is how you're going to die, Greg." He said, SWAT's going to come and kill everybody in this house. Fred will never give up, who was Dee Dee's father, which originally AWOL from the penitentiary. Joe, we already know, he's an eraser. He said, SWAT's going to come and kill. And when they opened the door, I could see all the money and coke and heroin and guns. And I've been in there 1,000 times, right? Only he let me see. And I say to him right there, God, I don't want to die. I don't want to die like this, God. Okay, I said, okay, God. Because I was always in a tug of war with my spirit and my flesh, okay? Because my mom had planted inside of me, God loves me, God protects me. So I was always in this tug of war with me, myself, and I. You know what I mean? And, and so, you know what? I was hooked on the power and control, couldn't give it up. And then the Bergsons showed me that lifestyle, and I'm living that lifestyle like I'm a rich Jewish, but I'm not. I'm doing it all the wrong way, okay? But I still got all the stuff. And so I tell God, I'm out. I don't tell anybody that. And so that was Friday night. That night I took Dee Dee out to see Marina Del Rey. Charlie Brown's my favorite spot. That's my girl. I had a girl on the side. I take Ronaldo out on Saturday, same spot. If you ever want to get me, shoot me at Charlie Brown's. But that's what I need. It's real simple. But anyway, so I bring her to my mom's house, spend the night. And I ask her to marry me, and I'm going to bail up and take off and run to Bellingham because my sister graduated from USC and married Patrick. They hired him as a chemical engineer for Arco. He ended up retiring, the vice president of BP, okay? Moved him up to Bellingham. I flew up to see my sister, okay? Who's this guy? Bellingham's like a little dot on the...
Yeah.
And I said, Angie, what the heck is there to do up? She said, for you, nothing. You need to go up to Vancouver. I went to Vancouver, BC. The clubs were bopping. It was cool. I came back, and I bought my first property on Lake Wacom, and I flew back home. God already predestined us, right? And so she rents it out for me. Never been back up there again. Now I'm belling up. I'm getting out. God shows me I'm going to die. I don't want to die like that. Okay. And I said, God, take Dee Dee out Friday. Don't tell her. Take Ronaldo out. Spend the night. My mom's house phone rings. I tell her, don't answer that phone. She picks the phone up. Oh, my gosh. Dee Dee starts screaming and cussing. Who is this? Blah, blah, blah. Who's this be? Where's Greg? I get on the phone. Calm down, baby. Calm down. I said, baby, we getting married? Oh, we getting married? I said, no, I'm married Ronaldo. Phone went click. Listen, you know what's going to happen to me? Listen, her daddy's going to shoot me in the freaking head in the morning.
So Dee Dee, out.
God showed me I'm going to die.
Yeah.
I can't. Dee Dee's when I touched that door, he showed me how I'm going to die in that house. SWAT's going to kill everybody. I said, I'm out. But there is no getting out. I can pick whatever cover coffin I want. Dude, he got me when I'm 14. I'm 20. Okay? I'm his future son-in-law, and I'm tapping out. Yeah, okay, I'm tapping out all right in the body bag. Check it out. So, I know Fred's going to kill me. There's nothing I can do. I can't run. I can't go anywhere. And so I've accepted. I'm going to look God in the face and say, God, I did what you said. I know they're going to kill me, but, and so Fred doesn't kill me. I don't find out till 7 years later. That's a long story, but that was the turning point in my life. Married and moved up to Seattle, got up here, and that was the point where I worked my job in LA. I worked in San Pedro at Todd Shipyard. They had a contract. They had it up here in Seattle. So always had a good job. Got a place on Alki Beach. I didn't know Bellingham was 2 hours away. I started living here.
So now, pardon me. Now you got multiple properties up here.
Yeah.
But you're still doing some shooting back to LA.
Yeah, I shoot back. I live up here now, so I'm gone. But I got a place on Alki where I live. My rental property up on Lake Wacom,
Yep.
and I work in the shipyards. But here's the deal. And so I don't.
So you got a job in the shipyard.
I guess, and listen, I'm a weapons control technician. Check it out. I hook up classified communication for the Navy. I'm the missile launchers, torpedo throwers. Listen, you won't believe this. What I didn't tell you was, listen, when I lived at the house in Gardena, my mom remarries, and this freaking guy hated me, and so no one's gonna be my dad. And so he told my mom that as soon as I turned 18. my ass is out the house, right? And my mom, he said, you go or he goes, right? And so when I turned 18, I got my first job ever because I used to be in high school. I didn't bring in all those stories. Kicked out of high school, and I was tired of high school. And I remember in 11th grade, the principal said, Greg, why don't you try a trade? He sent me to trade school. I got all my credits. So at 18, hey, I was an electronic technician. And the teacher sent us to his company, Pace Communication, to get my first job when I was 18.
I know Pace. Pace is a pretty famous joint.
Yeah. Pace Communication. So I got my first job on my 18th birthday, and my father-in-law, whatever, told my mom if I didn't have a job at 18, I was out. He was so pissed off that I started on my birthday. He told my mom, either you go or I go. She said, I'll see you later. So that was the end of that marriage. And so at this point, when I decided to make this geographical, Todd Shipyards is up here. And I'm already in the union, so that's my job. But I'm still living life.
Living it. So let's, oh man. So we got, I mean, we could go on and on here.
No, now we're gonna get to sobriety. Now,
This is what I think.
Okay, let me lead you where you're going.
There we go.
For time's sake. So now I'm up here in Seattle, and like I have no idea that I got a 4.0 in the drug and alcohol department. You know why? Listen, I ain't got a clue. Here's the deal.
Do they offer that at UW?
Huh? Listen. Listen. Here's the deal. I'm my number one customer, and I don't run out. I'm under the influence. And listen, I was an unlicensed chemist. Let me tell you, I already figured out no matter how much Coke I do, I can drink alcohol. And alcohol doesn't get me drunk. And listen, and Coke doesn't get me high. It's a complete equalizer.
Perfect.
Listen.
Perfect.
And then I would smoke weed to get my appetite. And then I would take vitamins to keep my system running.
There we go.
I was a human toxic dunk and an unlicensed chemist. And I ran chaos. And I could function at the highest level.
I think you're being smart.
Hey, I ran at the highest level. And my ex-wife at the time said, hey, you know what? We don't need money. We're doing good. It's time you stop doing that. I don't want you to get in trouble. I got 2 kids, Raquel and Royale, and I put it down for the first time, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, what is going on here? You know, because like I said, I always got it, and I realized, Houston, we got a problem. So I tell her, oh yeah. So I would fly back to LA and cop and come back, and I would tell myself, oh, I'm gonna just sell a little bit. No, it was all mine. Listen, it was all mine. Listen, it was all mine. And I didn't know that I had such a high tolerance that if you tried to get high with me, you'd overdose, okay? Because I've been under the influence of...
You're lighting it up. I mean, you're ripping.
From 15 to 25, 365 days of the year. Listen, and really, I had a friend come over. He could have been a basketball player. He's about 6'11". My ex-wife's out of town, and at the time we smoke it, right? And I was a tester, and I knew all that stuff. And so the bottom line is she's out of town. I bring them in my house. I said, these little Rudy Poos in Seattle don't know what they're doing. I said, let me show you the real stuff. I'll never forget. I gave him a hit of that, and I'll never forget. He hit that and friggin' died on my kitchen floor. Listen, man, and boom, just like that. And so I friggin' jumped on top of him, right? He's like 6'11", and I start slapping him. Like, Jay. I'm like, oh my gosh, Jay, friggin' dead, Jay. I slapped him for about 5 or 10, just slapping his face.
Nothing going.
Nothing. And then guess what? Boom, his eyes opened up. Check it out. I thought he was dead. His eyes opened up, and he said, what are you doing on top of me? I said, hey, man, you on my floor. I thought you was dead. What do you mean, what am I doing on top of you? I've been slapping your face. And he gets up, and he says, man, I don't want no more of that stuff. I said, man, get your Rudy Poot ass out of my house, right? Pick him out.
He doesn't want any more of that. Shocking.
He said, he don't want no more. He's a normal guy. Man, that was the point. I stood in my kitchen for 2 days. The sun come up and come down. And I ain't even tell you how much coke I smoked. Anybody, it would have killed 10 elephants, right? Only at the end of it, once I start, I can't stop. And I had to either run out of life, run out of money, or run out of drugs. And I ran out of drugs that night. 2 days later in my kitchen, my heart was like this. And I had this moment of clarity. I said, Greg, you'd have smoked yourself to death. And I thought, oh my gosh. But remember, Fred always taught me wear a mask, okay? And so finally, there's a point, I'm trying to control this, but you know, on the outside, listen, I look like I'm I'm only 21, 22, 23, 24, you could do a swan dive off my balcony into Alki Beach. Listen, I'm driving the cars of choice. I got a top classified job. I have a wife. My ex-wife's a banker. I have 2 kids. I look like I'm going on. I'm a walking friggin' corpse, baby. This is what I'm.
So now you mentioned something which is critical. By the way, I met Greg in the program.
Right.
We'll touch on that before.
Okay.
I'll touch on that right now.
Okay, perfect.
He comes walking into my Thursday meeting, right? My Thursday meeting is 7 p.m. on Thursday, right? Not a lot of people there, right? So in comes this guy, this black guy, as you could well see.
Absolutely.
I mean, he is dressed to the nines. He's 63. I'm 63. I got 36 years in the program. He's got 35 years in the program. I look at him and I'm thinking, where the hell does this guy come from? Lo and behold, he just starts going. And that meeting ended. And I walked up to you and said, dude, you got to come on my podcast.
Absolutely.
And I didn't know if you would. I thought, oh, is he going to be like giving me shit? And you're just like, you might be just like, come on, man, I don't go to your show, which I've had happen. There's people up there don't want to do it.
Okay.
You lit up. And I'm like, this guy is going to bring game. So back to my story.
Okay.
You have this moment of clarity. You mentioned that. And I love that term.
Right.
Because so something clicks in your head and you think, I'm up Schitt's Creek here.
Yeah, that's it. And listen, it registers. I said, I'd have smoked myself to death. And when I realized at first I was using drugs and alcohol, they were using me. I didn't have to say it anymore. And I remember at the end, I hated it, but I couldn't take the mask off. I mean, and my worst fear was not dying, was being an absolute loser and letting me live and letting everybody know how I destroyed my life.
That had a huge part of mine. Being in a big high-performing family in suburban Philadelphia. I couldn't keep up with it.
Wow.
And it's maybe obviously not the same circumstance, but the same feeling.
Right.
I'm going to fall apart. The crowd's going to see me go down. So anyway, back to your life.
And so listen, it got harder to play the game. And here's the whole turning point in my sobriety. We go back home to L.A. to go on vacation. Like I said, I live on the ocean and top security job, still doing stuff. And my ex-wife says, if you go down there and start smoking coke, I'm going to tell everybody. That was my worst fear. Oh, I learned how to wear a mask. You can't, no. Everybody think, Greg, the man, Greg. Man, we go to L.A. and I got a bunch of money. Next thing you know, I go to town, I start smoking coke, and I'm out of money. And this is the first time I heard my addiction talking to me. I'm like, let me go with my ex-wife, and I gave her some money. And it said, no, don't go do that. She's going to ask you, what'd you do with all the money you had? She's gonna tell on you. I thought, oh, shoot. So in my mom's house, my brother was there, and he had some money behind the mirror. Something said, take that money and go. I don't need to take no money. I freaking got money. But I took it, went over to my best friend's Keith's house. To this day, he's in the program. And we're smoking coke, drinking alcohol. In the middle of the night, 4 a.m, I start crying. He looked at me. He said, G. He called me G. G, what's up? I said, God, please help me. I'm a drug addict and alcoholic. First of all, I couldn't believe that. They were the freaking scum of the earth to me. They were the scum of the earth, right? Oh, no. I just wore a mask. I was the best scum of the earth for walking, okay? Let me just tell you.
You're in.
And listen, from that point on, guess what I did? I called Dr. Berkson, who loved me. And he said, Greg, you asking for help? I said, yeah. Hung up the phone. Guess who I get a call from? Dr. Paul in the Big Book. Listen.
Wow.
Listen, Dr. Drug Addict Alcoholic, the 3rd edition, 449 the page. Acceptance is the answer to all my problems.
Those of you who know, well, some of you, many of you don't, but he's calling out a specific section of the Big Book, which is, for us in recovery, has a huge impact on how we, try to conduct our life.
Yeah, how we live. And so he was director at the care unit, and I'll never forget, he told me, I got a call from him. He says, I'm Dr. Paul, and he says, I hear you have a drug and alcohol problem. First thing I say, I don't know about all that. I'm in denial.
Yeah.
First, don't even come at me like that.
Back off.
Back off, buddy. And so he says, Greg, I'm director at the care unit. One thing I can tell you and guarantee you for sure, it's a 28-day program. You put yourself in there. You'll learn more about drugs and alcohol, and at the end of 28 days, you can decide whether you're one or not. I'm like, okay. I went in there. Turning point in my entire life. Oh my gosh. First of all, I couldn't, and then that spun me into AA, but I couldn't believe the laughter in there. They're talking about they flip cars, fell out windows, just all this stuff. But most of all, listen, I couldn't believe what I was hearing. They were telling the truth, and you never tell the truth. I was always told, never don't tell the truth. No way. They telling the truth. But this is what really got me.
And laughing, joking around. It is a
joking. Listen,
very social setting.
Listen, but here's what really got me. They all were saying they were alcoholics and drug addicts, but they didn't look. They had cars and homes and careers and wife and kids. It just blew my mind.
I remember thinking a few people who would talk, I'd say, they're bullshitting.
Yeah.
They were never, fuck them. They were never screwed up. Hey, now, we're entering the final chapter here.
Right.
Because I'm not going to miss out on this. Mm-hmm. This is bringing game. This is a man turning around professionally and meeting some high-end people. Gorbachev.
Oh, yeah. Worldwide success training for billionaires. I'm doing world summits. Absolute. Can you believe that? Yeah,
I
GP
know.
from I know.
I know. Just get. We got to hit this. 'Cause,
Okay,
I mean,
okay,
this again.
okay.
Let me get that. Greg Perry, Living Miracle.
Okay.
Great book.
Okay, so now we're going to fast forward. Okay, so the bottom line is that spins me into AA. I make a decision. Okay, I want what they have, right? I sell out to my sponsor, right? You know what? He's very successful, and I want what he has. His story was like mine: wife, kids, business, just blessed all the way across the board. I follow the script. Oh my gosh, God bless my life off. Okay, I sell out to AA. I work the program. I work the steps. My life changes overnight. Listen. I get into real estate because here's the deal. I got a great job. I got a house in Harbor Point, but I'm used to living life in the fast lane. I'm watching TV late at night. I see all these Dave Delgado shows, all these realtors. They got the cars, the homes, the money. I'm like, no, that's what I want to do. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm a licensed electronic technician, weapon control. Run the guy's company. Another turning point. I'm running this company, making good money, good house, sunny day, eating on Lake Washington. I go and eat lunch, and I pray to God, I want to be a superstar real estate agent. And you know, and at the time I got sobriety, I'm teaching Sunday school, I'm doing all the right thing, I'm helping people, and I say, okay, God says, go for it, put your faith and trust in me and follow through. I go back and tell my guy, I'm running this company. At the end of lunch, hey, I need you to double my income. I want him to tell me I'm fired, right? Because I've already decided at lunch. And he says, Greg, I can't double you. It's crazy. I pay you the most. And I said, man, I'm sorry. I just wanted you to tell me I'm fired. Why would I tell you that? I said, because, I made a decision I'm going to do something. I said, what you going to do? I said, well, I'm not going to say I learned if you tell people what you're going to do before you do it, you take the wind out of your sails. And he says, okay, so what are you saying? You're done? I said, yep. He said, what are you talking about? I said, right now? Yep. He said, do me a favor, go out the back. I don't know what I'm going to tell my crew. You went to lunch and came back. You're running my business. Okay. So I went home. I was so happy. I called my wife and she got home. I said, baby, I'm going to be a superstar real estate agent. She says, have you lost your freaking mind? Are you back on drugs? There's nothing wrong. We got a house. You got a job.
Yeah,
we got a car.
why?
She said, what are you? So guess what she did? She said, are you back on drugs? I said, no, I'm going to do this. She called my mom. Listen, she calls my mom, and my mom said, Gregory, if you lost your mind, you got to take care of your kid. I said, Mom, no, you guys don't understand. I'm going to be a superstar real estate agent. My mom said, okay, I'll pray for you. So I tell my wife, she works in corporate at Todd Shipper, where I best her, for 9 years. And she said, I need you to quit your job. She said, you lost your freaking mind.
You're back on drugs now.
She said,
positively
I had
on
my
drugs.
job before I even freaking met you. I'm not giving up my corporate job. You're freaking crazy, Greg. There's nothing wrong. We got a great life. And I said, honey, and I wrote her like a bull. She did not want to do it. She quit her job because of me. I jump into real estate, 9 months. Check it out. I haven't made a paycheck in 9 months. We're absolutely broke.
You're burning through, burning cash.
Burning cash. I'm on food stamps. My house is in foreclosure. They're trying to repossess my BMW, but I'm working every single day, right? No money in 9 months. I had a men's group at the time. My men's group came together every Tuesday, and I thought, they said, Greg, we want to have a meeting with you. I said, okay, all the guys I'm sponsoring and mentoring and helping, and I thought they were going to throw some money in the kitty. They said, we just want to tell you what you taught us. It doesn't look like it's working for real estate, so you probably need to go back to your other job. And I told them, we're not having a meeting tonight. You guys can get out. So it came to the point where my wife woke up one day and said, what kind of man are you? You quit your job. You had me quit my job. She said, I don't care if you get a damn job at McDonald's. You better be the man you said you are and take care of our family because you caused this. Oh, listen, that hurt all the way to the bone, guys. Listen,
that's a punch.
And listen, and I couldn't say anything, and she was right? My wife was so freaking upset with me, she couldn't even stand me because we had this beautiful life, and I burned it to the ground, guaranteeing that I'm going to be a superstar real estate agent, right? And so my sponsor...
You went backwards seriously.
I didn't make one copper penny. Listen, let me get it. I'm on food stamps. I live in a house in Harbor Point. My house is in foreclosure, notes on the door. I'm parking my BMW around the car. They're trying to repossess it. That's just the good stuff. Okay, listen. So, and then I get with my sponsor, and I said, look, we need to talk, Harold. I said, I love you. He said, Greg, okay, let's lay your life out on paper, okay? And he said, I know you respect my opinion. So we laid my life on paper. He said, okay, let's look at it. You've been working, you quit your job. You had your wife quit her job. She said, you haven't made any money in 9 months. You're broke. You're on food stamps. You borrowed money from your mom for a while. And then you tried to borrow money from me. I wouldn't give it to you. Your car's about to get repossessed. And so
you're in deep shit.
Listen, that's putting it lightly. Without a paddle. Deep. And without a shovel. I'm deep. So deep, man. All the way to here, babe. No, all the way to here. I can only see, right? And so Harold says to me, okay, we laid it out. Here's my advice to you, Greg. And I know you respect me. No one's going to say you didn't give real estate a good shot. but it looks like it just wasn't meant to be. So if you're not back at your old job in 2 weeks, I'm perfectly coming and kicking your ass. That's it. You asked for it, you got it.
Timer on 2 weeks.
He left. This was the absolute turning point that changed my whole life. I broke down to God. I'm on an island. My wife doesn't believe in me. The guys that I mentor don't believe in me. My sponsor told me if I'm not back at my old job, dude, the sharks are swimming. Okay, I'm on an island.
Out of here.
Listen, everything. And I break down to God, and I said, God, I know I could be a superstar real estate agent. You know what? And God said, you trust in me and you follow through. That's what he told me. Trust in me. I got up the next day and I said, I don't care what none of you guys say. I'm going to be a superstar real estate. You know, they said, let that nigga go broke. He's going to be divorced. That's what they said. He can't be talked to. His house is getting foreclosed. His wife is divorcing him.
Run.
Repossessing his car. The nigga don't get it. Okay, everybody just said, we done, right? So check it out. I wake up. I said, God, please give me a sign. I go into the office the next day. They say, Greg, you just won the top lister for the month of August. So I've been working every day. I got listings, but they have to sell, right?
Yeah. Sales. I've been in sales all my life. You got to load it up.
You got to load it up. Listen. So in the last 3 months, I go from zero to making 6 figures, to being rookie of the year in 3 months. I make over 6 figures. The last quarter, they close.
And it just keeps going up.
Oh, check it out. But this would happen. I looked at that paycheck and I said, and the police ain't looking for me? And this is what I said. I said, and the police ain't looking for me?
Not if you just hold the money.
And I said, this straight up legit. Man, I doubled down. The next year, listen, I turned that 6 figures into 250. It got me a team. And I said, if I can make 2, I can make 5. I made 5, 7. Check it out. Now remember, I learned how to sell real estate, what? In the streets. Listen, I was running a business ever since I was 13, 14, 15. You know, when you messed up, they kill you. Okay. Mm-hmm. So I know how to do business without making a mistake, right? This was crazy. And so the real estate market never hit them. Man, I grew up in LA. I looked at the magazines. I remember my administrative assistant, Phyllis, worth their weight in gold. I said, Phyllis, we're going to do this billboards, mall ads, TV show.
I saw one of your billboards up. I'm like, holy shit, you know?
I said, we're going to do all this stuff. And she says to me, how are we going to do it? I said, we're just going to do it, right? We jump into the game. Listen, before you know it, I am the number one listing and selling broker in the office, then the number one listing broker in the county. By my 5th year, I break the record in real estate. I'm in the top 1% of John O. Scott. That's a Super Bowl trophy in real estate.
Yeah.
I'm the top listing selling broker in Western Washington. Listen.
That's a big crowd.
Listen, in order to get that club, listen, I'm making 7 figures now. Okay. And so I have billboards, mall ads, TV shows. I have publications, magazines, jingles, songs, commercials on Monday Night Football, NBA playoffs. I've got PAX TV, one of the biggest marketing tools I ever did. So we have a home show at John O. Scott, and I got all these listings. So I'm the top guy. And then John O. Scott canceled their home show. I'm like, oh my gosh, what the heck? So then there was a home buyer's guide. I went to the producer and I said, let me put my shows on. After I ran all my listings for about a month, they came to me and said, Greg, guess what? Your listings are a whole show. You can produce our show. They said it's a home buyer's guide, but they said no one has more properties than you.
Crank it up and just do it.
So they let me produce it. But then that's a home buyer's guide. I said, man, I want to do big TV. So I called King 5. They came into my office, the vice president. I tell them I got this ideal. I want to do real estate commercials. Then I want to do a lifestyle success. And they just feel my energy and my juice. They said, we'll help you. We'll call you in about 2 months, okay? They called me, sent a limo to pick me up. Phyllis, Bobby works for me, to the Four Seasons. We went up there to the penthouse. This guy by the name of Onus O'Connor. He makes all the jingles in America. Everything's behind a song, okay? And I didn't know that at the time. We walked in. I'm all GQ. He says, oh, brother, you sharp. Come here. Walked me in the penthouse in the back room, put a mink coat on me, said, walk out. I walked out.
Were you wearing a mink coat tonight? I saw you. You had something on.
It wasn't a mink coat. I had a nice coat on.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Yeah.
And so he had me put that on. We kicked it off. He goes in there, I tell him what I want to do. He plays on his organ, creates this Greg Perry jingle, walks in the back, comes out and says, here, sign this, it'll be $80,000. I said, hold on. I'm the closer, baby. Hold on. I said, I got billboards, mall ads. That's a lot. And I said, I tell you what, let me think about it, but I really want to do it. So we go back and Phyllis like, you should do it. I go, either for me to say, you guys work for me. I got all this stuff. That's $80,000. They said, we'll create you a jingle. And King 5, what they do is they bring this guy in, they pay him $4 million for 2 weeks, and you bring in all the vendors, and he creates all the songs for him, right? And they sign him up. They love me so much. The vice president of King 5, they set me up mega. And so I signed that contract for 80,000. They made me a Greg Perry jingle. They came and filmed a 30-second commercial for me. And I remember King 5 came to me and said, look, we're going to do this, Greg. Your TV time goes for 18 months. We're going to buy all the slots right now. And I said, why are you doing that? And he said, trust me, I got you, G. I got you. So he filled in 18 months of slots in the future. There was nothing there. Guess what? He was smart. My commercials ran on the Olympics. My Jay Leno,
Big, whoa,
NFL football. And this is King 5. This is national. Listen, dude.
ripping.
I was more famous than anybody in Seattle. Listen, TV commercials, King 5, that took me, and I had a whole jingle, and I kept marking. So now it doesn't even dawn on me, 5 years into the game, that God answered my prayers. Remember when I quit my job and I prayed to God on that lake? I said I want to be a superstar real estate agent. Phyllis, my administrative assistant, screens the guy, says, Greg, hey, I'm the publisher of Business Magazine. I want to do it. You got an incredible story. And so Phyllis said, I think you should do it. Guy walks in with a laptop, interviews me about 2 hours, type, folds his laptop down, takes off, comes back in about 2 months. I'm the cover story. It says, Business Journal, Greg Perry, once a poor kid in South Central LA, now self-made millionaire. And it dawned on me. I didn't even know it, that God had answered my prayers. I came home that night and broke down in private.
He put that in the Business Journal.
Yeah. I broke down in private and cried to God, oh, thank you, Lord. And then that set me up where I created the Lifestyle Success Institute. I wanted to give back and help others. And so now I've got years of sobriety. Life has changed, mind, body, spirit, and soul. God bless me with, I tell people I'm the richest man in the world, not Bill Gates, because of my God, my sobriety, my wife and kids. He's blessed me with my beautiful wife, Sherry, my children, Raquel and Royale, Abraham, Emmanuel, Dominique, and Janae and Caleb. And I would only work 10 months of the year, just so you know. I would take 2 months off. For the month of July, we would go live in Maui in a beach house, okay, in Lahaina, which is burnt down.
Yeah, I know. It's a bummer. I've been out there a lot.
Listen, broke my heart. And so from July 1st to July 31st, okay? And so my kids grew up in Hawaii surfing, and I just got back this Monday. My daughter lives on Diamond Head. And then I would take off another, another month during, right at Christmas.
Yep.
And then we go travel, whether go to Sun Peaks or Whistler or whatever, or Australia, who knows? We're all over the world.
Just take off.
And then for spring break. And then it got to a point where now I create my lifestyle success. I'm going to change the world, make a difference. I end up meeting one of my clients, Lawrence Zhou, Chinese guy.
This is a cool story. This is a good wrap up. Go for it.
Okay. I met Lawrence Zhou, right? Lawrence says, and so this is how many deals I close. I'm closing Lawrence's house. It's a domino. His house closed and 5 houses closed simultaneously. So listen, I've sold billions in real estate. I've closed thousands of deals. I made tens of millions in commission just to get you on a whole other level. And listen, to be the top 1%, that's a Super Bowl trophy. I won that 13 times. Okay. So till the thrill is gone. Okay. Tom Brady's got 7 Super Bowl. I got 13. Okay, in real estate. So let's just get the record straight. Okay. If there was a baller, I'm the baller, baby, in real estate. Okay. So, and we don't have a Hall of Fame real estate, but that's just the way it was, right? And so at this point right now, I create the lifestyle success. And Lawrence calls me. Great. He calls me a tiger because we sold his house and we had 5 other houses lined up like a domino. His house had to close number 2, number 3, number 4. You got it. And so I call him and he's in China. What? You're in China? I got to close. What? Bottom line is I get the deal closed. He's in China. It doesn't matter. All 5 deals closed. He come back and he said, Greg Perry, you tiger, man. He said, you tiger, man. No lecture. No problem. Fast forward 3 years later, he shows
the hell's you tiger?
He shows up in my office. He says, hey, I got a big client coming over here, big client, big guy. He said, I need you to take care of him. Okay, what does he want? He's going to buy some commercial land. He's going to put his company over. He's out of China, but he's got big money, Greg. I said, okay, what does he want? He wants maybe 5, 10, 20 acres to put a factory here. Okay, no problem. A guy flies in as vice president. I run around for a day with him in my car, show him all these sites, bring him back to the office, and he says to Lawrence, and he doesn't speak English, ask Greg, can he show me some more properties? I don't want Mr. Lee to be upset. I said, first of all, I've already showed you all the properties. I'm wondering, who's this guy, Mr. Lee? This guy's worried. I said, no, there is no more to show. Okay. Next week, Mr. Lee flies in with his entourage. Okay. I have to.
So we got somebody. We're bringing a big boy in.
It's the first time they've been to America, and so they fly in, and I have to go drop my Mercedes off, get my wife's Suburban or Escalade, whatever she had at the time, pick them up. And one person's just taking pictures. He doesn't speak English. I don't speak Chinese. Lawrence, my client, is the interpreter, right? So we get in. I show him all these properties for 2 days. First of all, I'm too busy. I'm too big. I can't take 2 days with no one client. At the time, I got 3 cell phones and 1 pager. Okay, I can't spend 2 days with no client.
But this guy's the big.
Listen, I'm gonna sell him a big piece of pride. I'm gonna make some big money. So, but the best part is he doesn't speak English and I don't speak Chinese. So while they speaking Chinese, I'm taking care of business all day on the phone, willing and dealing. Right, it didn't matter. But I'll never forget. I'm on 2 phones, driving with my knee, and Mr. Lee's in the front seat. He hits my leg to tell me put my hand back on the wheel. I'm like, okay. So I put my hand on the wheel. And at the time, I didn't know this, but he's checking everywhere he goes. I'm on TV, billboards, mall, everywhere he sees. I'm all over the city, right? I mean, listen, Stevie Wonder could see me. He's a blind man. I got cinema. Anywhere you go, I'm there. Mall ads, TV, movie, theater, blah, blah, blah. That's just it. So now it's the last day, and we're driving, looking at another property, and Lawrence says to, Mr. Lee says to Lawrence, tell Greg I consider him a friend. I said, tell Mr. Lee I consider him a friend. He said, tell Greg I'd like to invite him and his family to stay in my private hotels in China. I said, sure. That'd be great. And then he says to Lawrence, ask Greg how much money he made. I thought, the nerve of this friggin' China.
Yeah, what's up with that?
Listen, asking me, my wife, she got American Express card, Platinum card. She don't even friggin' know. That's man, don't nobody ask me how much friggin' money I make.
Bad move.
Listen, bad move. Hits me the wrong way, right? So I think to myself, who in the frick he think he is, man? And I'm thinking, well, listen, you know what? I'm going to sell it. You know, if I don't tell him, I ain't going to sell him this property and make this big money. So I said, who cares? He don't know me from John Doe. I'm going to tell him so I can close him on this deal, right? So I tell him, right? I think I'm big time, right? So I'm thinking 2 can play this freaking game, right? So I say, Lawrence, ask Mr. Lee how much money he made last year. You know what he tells me?
What?
$900 million. Check this out.
It's good. This is a good client. Good client.
Oh, listen, check it out. My brain short circuits. Check it out. I can see numbers. Numbers are my thing. I cannot compute $900 million in 12 months.
No, we can't get
I turn
that.
off my pagers and all 3 of my cell phones. I go from being a king in real estate to being an infant driving my car, right? And my mind is just running like the Indianapolis 500. And I just flat out say, Lawrence, ask Mr. Lee, how can a man make $900 million in 12 months? And Mr. Lee said he doesn't discuss his personal business while he works. He only does it with friends and with family. And I remember, and I said, so my mind's working. And I said, Lawrence, tell Mr. Lee, he considers me family, right? He said, yeah. I said, okay, family, I'll take all you guys out to dinner. And I want you to tell me your life story and you tell me my life story. He said, okay. I called Palisades. I had a back number. They made me a table. We go in there. Another turning point in my life. We sit there for 3 hours. Lawrence interpret. Mr. Lee's life story is my story. I was a poor kid out of South Central LA, became a self-made millionaire. He was a poor kid out of Tianjin, China, became a billionaire. Listen, even to his wife said, you crazy. You sold the car. My wife said, you're crazy. That's it. It's over. Blah, blah. God connected us at the heart. Boom. Just like that. Man, after that, he flew out and he's going to come back. Lawrence calls me about a week later and says, hey, just to let you know, Mr. Lee really loves you. I'm like, what? What are you talking about, Lawrence? He said, oh, man, Mr. Lee. I said, okay, what's going on? He said, they found out who Mr. Lee was. The governor was Gary Locke, was a Chinese governor at the time in Washington.
Yep, I remember.
They flew Mr. Lee back here, unbeknownst to me, gave him 2 Chinese brokers. They wanted to put his money in the C-First Tower, which is the Columbia Tower at the time, and they were going to take care of it. And Mr. Lee said he only deals business with one person, his best friend in America, and his name is Greg Perry.
Bring it.
Boom. Check. And Lawrence told, listen, next thing, Mr. Lee flies back in town, right? Brings me gifts, okay? And what happened was I set up the Lifestyle Success Institute. I need about $4 million to launch this across America. Like Anthony Robbins, way bigger than him. I've got it all set up. I called my Jewish brother, my chief financial officer, and I figured out I'll just ask Mr. Lee, okay, for $4 million, and then I'll give him back $8 million. I call Mr. Lee, and Lawrence said, Mr. Lee's coming to town. He comes to town. I lay it out, and he says, why don't you do this for my company? You know what? So I become his worldwide success trainer. At the time, we have 4 or 5 million sales consultant in 50 countries. I create the Lifestyle Success Tiashi version. He flies me over to, while I'm on vacation, and Lawrence said, Mr. Lee said, can you be his guest in Russia? I'm like, where? Moscow. I fly over there. Oh my gosh, I had no idea. He sets me up. I fly in. First, it's paparazzi everywhere, cameras. He sits me down. He loves my juice and the cameras, and I start telling him what Lifestyle's going to do with his company and blah, blah, blah. We walk around all these international tables, and then we walk in there. It looks like a UN meeting, flags flying. We come down, and paparazzi taking pictures, and Mr. Lee standing next to Lawrence, and he says to me, nice tie. We walk outside. I never seen like this. He had brand new black BMWs for the top sales consultants with the logo 24 karat gold world with a lion standing on top of it as we caravan down Moscow with a police escort, went to the Russian house, walked in there like, oh my gosh, Mikhail Gorbachev, prime minister. I'm kicking the whole show off. Absolutely incredible. We run around. Before you know it, I set up North America for him.
So you met Gorbachev?
Gorbachev, I'm in a private room with him. It's me and Gorbachev. Listen, I'm the main speaker. It's all of us up there. Not met Gorbachev. Listen, we're in the back. We come out. When I walked out there.
Hey, this might be like L.A. This guy can pop.
Oh, and listen, I never seen nothing like that. You open up your chair and you put in an earpiece and you have simultaneous interpreters.
Yeah.
So everyone, it's like a UN meeting. So we do that whole thing. You know what? I tell them I'm on board with it, and I'm the worldwide success trainer. I set it up. I set up North America. I set up Los Angeles, San Francisco, Seattle, and L.A. and Toronto and Vancouver. I have 650 success trainers working for me. And to this day, Mr. Lee right now is in 120 countries and has 19 million sales consultant, billionaire. And let me just tell you, even though he's financially rich, it's tough at the top, baby. It's lonely. They're spiritually, mentally, and emotionally broke. And I tapped out of that life. I got my life. So it's incredible.
Our final question here, which we ask. I think you've answered, but the hell with it. We're going to ask it.
Okay.
So why the hell do you do all this? I mean, something inside you made you. So why?
Here's why. Because and I'm glad you asked that. Here it is in a nutshell. So for 24 years, I have built a space shuttle. And what God has predestined me to do, I am going to mentor and influence the most influential people in the world, millionaires, billionaires, kings, princes, for the good for God, okay? Because I told you I got a PhD in life. Listen, I got a master's degree in the School of Hard Knocks. I graduated from Nunn University. I've been all over the world. I've lived all these different lifestyles. I've lived sports lifestyle, high rolling, gambling, VIP means major loser. I can go all this stuff. And what God has blessed me, what he does, he works through me. It's not even me. I can't take credit for anything. First of all, just me being 35 years sober would be a miracle, but I'm blessed. Look at me. I'm getting younger every day, just like you. Listen,
I'm telling you.
Listen, I'm telling you, listen. And so I'm on a mission from God right now to teach all people how to play the game in life and will. There's rules to this game. And what people don't understand, it doesn't matter whether you believe or you don't believe. There's something called the laws of the universe, right? And here's how it works. The world is round. You stand on it, it turns 365 degrees, it ends up in the same spot. So check this out. Whatever you dish out is coming back to you. If you give love, you're going to get love. Okay, if you cheat, you'll be cheated. You lie, you'll be lied to. If you give, you'll receive. So remember, and I realized that the worst enemy was myself, the man looking in the mirror. And I only had to change one thing. That was everything. You know what? And I started my life over, and now I'm here to give back and to show all people that all things are possible to those who believe. And every day I wake up, I thank God for the gift of life, the present. I surrender my life, my will, my mind, my body, my spirit, and soul. And who can I help? And now my greatest high is when I can help someone out of love with no expecting return. And God always blesses me. I got story after story where I've kind of crashed a plane, or I should say I tore Rome down in a day. And he blessed me mind, body, spirit. So I'm so full of love. And what it breaks down is three different things. Love. There is no defense against love. Love heals everything. And here's where half the world, I should say 90% of the world doesn't get it. The second greatest power is forgiveness. And until you can forgive everybody, you can't be free. You think I'm kidding? Because check this out. So we know what they did to Jesus, right? And when you know who you are, first of all, before they crucified, they tortured him. And they charged him with all these false charges. What did Jesus say? Guess what he said? Nothing, because he knew who he was. He knew that he was the Almighty. He knew that he had all power.
Why answer?
Listen, the I am. He doesn't have to say anything. That's why they say silence is golden. Listen, and then the greatest part is when they crucified him, he had all power. He could have came down, he raised folks from the dead, had folks walk on water, just tore the whole thing up. So guess what he said? Please forgive them, Father, for they know not what They
know
do.
that one.
So if you take love, you take forgiveness, and then the rest is humility, you can't take credit for it. You got to keep, listen, you can't take credit for it. You got to give God the credit. And all I know is that all things are possible and everyone's a winner. And so they've been lying to you guys. What you got to do, the biggest problem is you got to go look in the mirror. And you only have to change one thing. Remember, everything.
Everything.
Okay, thank you.
Wow, let me tell you what. You could go on for hours here.
Right.
Because first off, you don't have a problem chatting.
Right. I got the gift of gab. I love it.
I don't mind it. I love listening to it, but I say, hey, now this is my hour.
We got
but, what the hell with it?
Sorry about that. Sorry for hogging the show.
No. Greg Perry, great book. And my only request now is come back to my 7 p.m. meeting on Thursday night.
I'll do it.
Come on, cut me a break. I got no attendance. But anyway, please do. What a great chance to meet you.
Last thing I want to put a tag in. Here's where I'm on. I created the words of wisdom. Listen, God wrote that spiritual masterpiece through me. It's 64 verses. And listen, I wrote that when they threw me in the pen at 28 years sobriety when I challenged the biggest boys in organized crime. That's a whole nother story. Part of the Red Sea, baby. Listen, and I wrote that in there, and we just spent 10 months filming it. We have it on YouTube, haven't launched it, but it's a poster called The Words of Wisdom. When you read these verses, and like I said, it's a spiritual masterpiece written by God through me. That's the next mission that I'm on right now.
Great.
Okay.
Great. Well, thanks again for coming in.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Take care and God bless. Thank you, Mark.
You too. Thank you for listening to The Mark Howley Show. If you found this story as intriguing as we did, give us a like, share the episode, and subscribe. For other stories like this one, you can check us out wherever you stream your content at The Mark Howley Show. New episodes every other Friday. Adios.